Today on the DML News Podcast, Donald J. Trump continues to fight against the courts. It's just crazy how it is that the people in black robes want to see this country die. That seems to be what it's all about. We've got that to discuss and a whole lot more, so get ready because it's all unfiltered.
Dennis Michael Lynch gives you his word, and he will never let you down. He will always fight for America.
The only one who really puts his money where his mouth is Dennis Michael Lynch.
Hello, I'm Dennis Michael Lynch, and I thank you for joining me today. Across from me is my son, Denny. On the controls is my son, Ryan. We are a family coming to you every single day, proudly talking to you about Donald J. Trump, his administration, the Congress trying to help him, and the Congress trying to stop him, the resistance trying to stop him, including the courts. We talk about it every single day, and every single day it's always inspired by the same thing, the 47 Report, 47report.com, numeralized 47report.com. It is the most powerful, most read pro-Trump newsletter there is in all of the lands. Our open rate, 3 times that of the industry standard. That tells you how popular it is. It tells you how unique it is. Every single thing you would want to know in short form about the Trump administration, the Make America Great Again movement is all in one newsletter every morning. People set their coffee to it. No joke. Every morning by 6 a.m. We used to say 7. Now it's 6. 6 a.m. or earlier, it will be, and that's Eastern time, it will be in your inbox. If you sign up today, 47report.com, tomorrow you start becoming the most informed person there is in all the lands. If you don't see it tomorrow morning, go to your spam, say, hey, this isn't spam, Google, Hotmail, Yahoo, and you move it over to the inbox and you are good to go. If you respond to the newsletter, because at the bottom, we purposely put a 5-star rating so this way you could rate how it is that you think the newsletter is. When you rate it, when you interact with the newsletter and leave a little remark, that triggers, hey, they want to see this every day, and that's how you'll get it. As a little sugar on top, by 6 p.m. Eastern at nighttime, you then get the DML report. It's a 2-for-1, and it costs you nothing. And again, same thing with that newsletter. Every single day, we are tripling the industry open rate. And every single day, the DML report gives you information that you will not get anywhere else. We take the main topic or one of the top topics that's being discussed that day, and we break it down for you, giving you the history, giving you the statistics, and letting you understand between all the crazy nuances that make things difficult, we make it easy for you. Please go in and support us. 47report.com, and you are set to go. Now, with that said, let me also say to everybody who's on Facebook and who is on Rumble, make sure right now you hit the share button. It's the best way to piss off the liberals when you get our voice, my boy's voice, and ultimately your voice out to the masses. Hit the share button. If you don't share, you don't care. And if you don't care, I don't understand why you're here. You could probably go watch squirrels dance outside in the park, or you could turn on The View and want to stick your head in the microwave and try to make things warmer, hotter, or more sensational. I have no idea. But this, if you're here, hit the share button. Now, with that being said, it feels like every day when I come on the show here, there's always something new to talk about. And that's great. From a show perspective, it makes my life very easy. And one day we could be talking about immigration. The next day we could be talking about Vladimir Putin. The next day we could be talking about China. We could talk about oil drilling. We could talk about the trans movement. All these different things always present themselves as a very interesting topic, and I think we do a great job for you, and that's why you've been with me for nearly 20 years. This is one of those weeks where we seem to be stuck in one topic, and we can't get out of it. And it's the craziest topic of all because you would never think there would be a need to discuss this. But here we are for day 3, clamping onto the same topic that I've opened up with every day before. And the reason being is because this is now getting to a point of where there's nothing else we can do but talk about it. And what I'm talking about are the radical judges and the radical courts that continue to try to take this presidency, which very well could be the single best presidency in all of American history if it were allowed to be played out like normal people would do something, like letting a president do a president's job. But there's this crazy movement in America. It started with Barack Insane Obama. He radicalized everything. And if you've been with me for those 20 years, especially the 16 since he came into the whole picture, you know how many times I have repeated his phrase that it seemed to bother nobody else as much as it's bothered me. We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. You have to take those words at the core. It's not like when somebody says, I love pizza. You really don't love pizza. You like the taste of pizza and you're just emphasizing it. No. Barack Obama was not using metaphors. Barack Obama was not mincing words. He meant fundamentally transforming. Now, let's just put that into perspective, because fundamental transformation, what does that mean? If I said to you, any one of you who are on with me right now, if I said to you, Sally, Billy, I am going to lose 20 pounds and I'm going to look like a new person. Okay. What I am doing is I'm making an improvement, not a transformation. If I said to you, Carol, Christopher, I am going to go in and surgically change myself, and I am going to attempt to go from being Dennis to Denise. And the next time I come on the show, I've got a wig and lipstick and I've got fake boobs in the whole 9 yards. That's a fundamental transformation. That's looking at somebody and something you don't understand. That's what Barack Obama aimed to do. And nobody ever gives him the credit that he deserves for screwing up this country to the level to where it is screwed up today. Now, I am going to read to you briefly the heading on the #1 story on the New York Times today, March 19. Defiance and threats in deportation case renew fear of constitutional crisis. You would swear on your life that what Trump did was said, I am going to make it so this way there's never another election in this country ever again. I'm ignoring everything. We're having martial law. There's going to be the military in the streets. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. I am the king. That would be a constitutional crisis. But here's the thing. President Donald J. Trump wanted to deport terrorist gang members who kill, rape, steal, sell drugs, and do the worst crimes that you can possibly imagine. They toss people in vats of acid. They take them and chop their body parts off. These are the people that represent the devil. And not one single outlet has said, let's praise Donald J. Trump for taking an active role in trying to protect the United States of America from the sort of people that have no right being in the United States. Where are those headlines? Those headlines are nowhere. Everybody's freaking out because Trump, who had planes in the air over international waters, said that the judge's ruling had no bearing. He's a district judge to begin with. He has no right in national security decision-making. And then secondly, his order does not have weight if you're talking about a plane being in international waters. Now, the other side is arguing, well, you're looking at it from the wrong perspective, sir. What you should have done is taken the judge's order and obeyed to it, because the decision to have that plane turned around wouldn't have been made in international waters. It would have been made here on the homeland. Therefore, my judge's call supersedes wherever that plane was. And so now it becomes a distinction of, well, is this a war or is not a war happening? Let's be honest about something for a second. The war word is very loosey-goosey. If you remember correctly, we went to war with Iraq over nothing. They didn't have weapons of mass destruction. And the Iraqis were not involved in 9/11. Those were the Saudis. Now, with the Iraqis, we never had Americans on U.S. soil be murdered from the people of Iraq who we went in and started going to, if you want to call it, a war with. So you tell me, what is more of a defining word, war against Iraq or war against the drug cartels and the murderous terrorist gangs from Venezuela, Central America, etc., who are coming into the nation here and killing Americans on U.S. soil, who have made doctrine, their whole life is about killing cops, killing Americans, stealing, and gangbanging. You tell me what is more of a war. Now, if the judge with the black robe on, who was appointed by Obama, his only point in life is to stop the MAGA movement, to stop Donald J. Trump, well, then he's going to look at the traditional word of war and say, well, we've got to have guys, boots, women on the ground shooting. We've got to have helicopters going. I mean, this is like a whole movie, Apocalypse Now. If it doesn't look like Apocalypse Now, it's not a war. Well, that's asinine. That's asinine. That's like a judge getting pissed off because his television no longer requires him to get up, stand up, and turn the knob to change the channel. He's pissed that he's got to use a remote. This makes no sense at all. I have a clip here. Ryan's going to cue it up of Donald J. Trump yesterday, last night, on Fox News, describing what this judge is all about. Play it, Ryan.
What would you say to that? Are there circumstances where you would defy a court order?
Well, I think that, number one, nobody's been through more courts than I have. I think nobody knows the courts any better than I have. I would say the chief judge does, but nobody knows them better than I have. And what they've done to me, I've had the worst judges. I've had crooked judges. I have judges that valued Mar-a-Lago at $18 million because that benefited his case, because he wanted to see me convicted of something. I have judges that were had relatives making millions and millions of dollars on the election, ruling on the election.
But going forward,
I had judges
would
that
you
were
defy
so
a court
corrupt.
order? Because that we all know
No,
that, and that was
I
outrageous.
never did defy a court order.
And you wouldn't in the future.
No, you can't do that. However, we have bad judges. We have very bad judges, and these are judges that shouldn't be allowed. I think at a certain point you have to start looking at what do you do when you have a rogue judge. The judge that we're talking about, you look at his other rulings. I mean, rulings unrelated, but having to do with me, he's a lunatic.
He certainly is a lunatic. Now, what Donald J. Trump did yesterday is he went to Truth Social and he wrote a little something about this judge, Judge Boasberg. He wrote, "This radical left lunatic of a judge, a troublemaker and agitator who was sadly appointed by Barack Hussein Obama, was not elected president. He didn't win the popular vote by a lot. He didn't win all 7 swing states. This judge, like many of the crooked judges I am forced to appear before, should be impeached." Okay. Shortly thereafter, Republican out of Texas, Representative Gills, launches impeachment documentation against this judge, saying that this judge has completely overstepped his authority and his entire intent really just is to stop President Trump from being president, and in this particular case, stopping him from protecting Americans from terrorist gang member groups. Well, for some reason, Justice Roberts, John Roberts, who was appointed by a Democrat president called George W. Bush. Yeah, read between the lines. He was not a Republican. He certainly wasn't a conservative. At best, he was a rhino. Open borders Bushes. So what the media does is they try to position Roberts as a conservative who's on the court, and they do that so this way when Roberts goes against Trump, it makes it sound like conservatives are against Trump. John Roberts is not a conservative. There's no doubt he is not a conservative. For some reason, Judge Roberts felt as if he should come out of his dark chambers and put out a statement. Now, he didn't mention Trump by name, but it came shortly after the Truth Social post. And here's what Roberts wrote. For more than 2 centuries, it has been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision. The normal appellate review process exists for that purpose. You know what I'm calling? I'm calling bullshit. We have dealt with these courts now for 8 years. 8 years. It started off with the COVID nonsense, where the courts were just overriding everybody. Then it went into the election, where Trump and his team actually had evidence to present to a court, multiple courts, about a stolen election. And what those courts did, and almost each and every time, was denied even looking at the evidence and threw it out. Imagine somebody coming up and saying, hey, we have the OJ knife. It's got his fingerprints on it. DNA runs. It's him. And the judge says, no, you can't put that into evidence. What? What? And then you later find out that the judge, well, is related somehow to OJ. This is what we're dealing with. Radical lefty judges that were part of the fundamental transformation of the United States of America, led by Barack insane Obama, are not ruling from the bench in terms of keeping the scales of justice equal. They're doing it completely by ideology, and John Roberts is no different. John Roberts decides that he is going to put out that statement and that he is going to tell the Trump administration, without naming him by name, you are not going to impeach any judge whatsoever, sir. You are going to listen to the robes, because at the end of the day, we are the boss. You're just the puppet. No, that's not how it works. Maybe that's how we've allowed this to happen. Maybe that's why the most single important thing a president ever can do is appoint a judge to these federal positions. Right now, we're getting screwed. John Roberts is not a conservative. I'll just give you 2 things in case you don't remember about John Roberts. He cozied up, if you remember, to all the progressives back in 2012. He twisted himself into knots to save Obamacare, calling that penalty that we had to pay a tax. And then he redefined what it is that a woman and a man can be for employment records. This is nuts. This man is always going with the left. You think it stops at the deportation? No, it doesn't. Updated 38 minutes ago. U.S. District Judge Anna Reyes has issued an indefinite block on President Donald Trump's executive order that aimed to ban transgender individuals from serving in the U.S. military. The judge criticized the ban as unconstitutional and discriminatory, arguing that it based on bias and lacked legitimate military necessity. This discussion has ignited a debate on judicial overreach versus the protection of equal rights, with various political figures expressing strong opinions on the ruling. Let me be one of those figures. The United States of America is in trouble. Severe trouble. For one, we took thousands of healthy, well-minded individuals who were part of the military and told them that they had to take a shot, had to take a jab that was unproven to work. And we had thousands say, I'm not doing it, and they were removed from the military. Now, why would that happen? Why would you take 8,000 of arguably the most healthy Americans there are? These are men and women who can walk 10 miles with a refrigerator on their back. You worry about them getting the sniffles? I'll tell you why they did it. They did it because they wanted to rid of people out of the military who they felt they could not control completely. Now, anybody knows if you're in the military, you have to listen to your orders. That is part of being in the military. If you're told to do 20 push-ups, you do them. If you're told to clean the toilet bowl with a toothbrush, you do it. If you're told to spin around on your head 10 times, you better do it or else you're going to have to do another 100 push-ups. But if you're told to go up and kill one of your fellow Americans, that's where you can draw the line. These people, the deep staters, want the military under control. So if you're not going to take the jab for whatever get the hell out. How many times on this show over the last couple of years have I reported how understaffed we are? We can't recruit people for the Army. We can't recruit people for the Marines or the Navy. Why do you think this is? This is because these young kids who voluntarily want to come in and help the United States of America be the best. Look at that whole thing with the jab. Look at the fact that everything has changed in the military training, how we're letting trans people, who I would argue need help. They need help. And instead of getting the help that they need, we got military, VA, we got military hospitals, we got military clinics helping trans get trans surgeries. The military, Vladimir Putin laughs. Xi Jinping laughs. That's why we can't recruit anybody. And now we're going to have some judge come in there and say, no, Trump's executive order is no good. You watch. Right after Trump wound up winning the 2024 election, it started to spike, meaning the people who wanted to come back into the military. And you watch. This whole thing with the transgenders, it will start to decline because people are going to say, well, if I got to serve 4 years, Trump's already in it. I'm going to have to be maybe under some other president because I can't guarantee J.D. Vance is going to be the next one. I ain't doing it. These judges are completely out of control. Donald J. Trump is trying to do nothing other than make America great again. And these judges want to keep America on the decline. Dennis, what say you?
I think I don't want to look back and say, oh, you know what's really disappointing? Trump had all these fantastic, awesome initiatives and ideas. And the first few months were riddled with these crazy leftist activist judges that come from these random districts that are just basically stalling the America First agenda. It is beyond frustrating that they were not elected as president. And I'm all for judicial review and having the balance in the courts, but we know at this point the Supreme Court has some very compromised individuals when it comes to enacting what you could probably just say is the rule of law. I mean, how simple is it? You have murderous Venezuelan gang members. Get them out. I think we're even doing too much by flying them in a nice military plane. They should just be dropped off at the border and just told to go walk. I mean, that's how we would do it, but I guess that's not the way it's supposed to. But regardless, we're trying to get it so that we can bring them back to these countries. And when you got a Boasberg, trying to rule against what the people voted for, it's beyond frustrating. And I know the calls are getting louder with getting these judges impeached. I know Brandon Gill, a representative from Texas, is really trying to lead that effort. And it's not because we're trying to overthrow the law. It's because these judges are preventing what Trump is trying to do to save this country.
You know, part of this whole thing with this Judge Boasberg, now they're trying to impeach him. I wrote about this yesterday on the DML report, and this is why the DML report and the 47 report is such an important thing for people to sign up for. So go to 47report.com, put your email address in, and it's a free newsletter every single day. And people sent me messages and said, DML, I had no idea how this worked. Thank you for explaining this. So to impeach this radical judge, it's like trying to walk on water. All right, it's how hard it is. First, it goes through the Republican House. And if we get all the Republicans to align, great. Then it goes to the Senate. The problem is we need to have more than 2/3. We need 67 senators to convict. And you're never going to get that. There's not going to be a single Democrat that is going to look at your life, that's going to look at my life, that's going to look at your children and your grandchildren and say, I want to protect you. This judge was out of control, total overreach. I can't stand up for that. I want the American people to be protected. No, they won't do that. They just want to hand Trump a loss. And then you'll get radicals like Susan Collins. She will sit there and stand with the Democrats and try to say that Trump did something wrong. These people are out of control. So the odds are slim that this guy is going to be impeached. There have been a handful, 15 judges, federal judges, impeached over the course of 3,000 federal judges in the U.S. history. So the odds of this happening are slim to none. And people sit back, Dennis, and they get discouraged because they say, I gave my money to Trump. I went out and I put signs on my lawn and I went to the rallies and I drove my grandmother to vote and I did everything I can. And yet the judges are getting in the way. What can I do? And the answer is nothing.
Well, so then here's the big question, because I'm seeing a few pop up. Trump already kind of addressed in the clip we played. What would be the consequence if Trump just completely ignored these judges?
Well, that's where you wind up coming, because, see, so that's why they're calling it a constitutional crisis. And again, I'm not the right person for this because I'm not a legal scholar. I'm not a constitutionalist. However, I will read something to you from somebody who is perfect with this, okay? So I just read to you what wound up happening with the transgender order. Ron DeSantis, who is a constitutional lawyer, 3 hours ago wrote the following: Congress has the authority to strip jurisdiction of the federal courts to decide these cases in the first place. So Congress has the power. We have the power to stop this. The sabotaging of President Trump's agenda by resistance judges was predictable. Why no jurisdiction stripping bills teed up at the onset of this Congress? That's DeSantis asking the question. How many times have you, Ryan, and I been on this show since we took back the presidency and said, where are the effing bills to support these movements by Trump, or the movements by Doge, the movements by Elon Musk? Where is the support mechanism to take what was a great idea and what would be a temporary movement through an executive order and cementing it in law? Nothing's happening. And Ron DeSantis is correct. The Congress has the ability to strip these courts of that sort of possession of power. And I could only imagine the reason why they're not doing it is because they fear that it would wind up flipping against them. But how can you justify that fear? Because if it were to be in turn that the Democrats were to get into office and we had judges who tried to stop them in the same thing, you could say, well, listen, it's going to go out of control. And this is the problem with the Republicans. Why do you always try to play defense? Get on the offense. We won't need those judges because the Democrats would never win another election if Donald Trump and the freaking Republicans would be able to go through with the Make America Great Again process, get it into place, make it there for everybody to win off. We'd win every election for the rest of our days. I would never see another Democrat in the White House again. And so stop playing to lose, start playing to win. I mean, second place is the first loser, right? So why? And I'll tell you why. Because the Democrats, notwithstanding Trump, have never understood how to play the game. Their messaging has sucked. Their strategic alliances are broken. It's always splintered. That's why I've said 5 million times, Denny, if I were to go to war tomorrow and I had to pick what platoon I was in, I would pick one that was filled with Democrats and I'd pretend that I was Democrat. You want to know why? Because Democrats always stick together. I mean, the worst you'll possibly see is what they're doing right now to Chuck Schumer. But when it comes to the Republicans, they kill and eat their own. And they've only coalesced around Trump recently because they just see that the American people are so behind this guy that you can have somebody like Ted Cruz, who's been in Texas forever. If he shows a little resistance to Trump, you're done. And that's why. So what I personally believe is that the majority of these Republicans, these scumbags, this is why I never wanted Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. These guys and gals are going to change their tune once Trump taps out, when he can no longer run anymore, when he no longer controls the GOP. You mark my word. That's why what we have right now is such a unique position to where we have got to get these things through. So to answer that question in a second way, I gave it to you through Ron DeSantis, who definitely knows this stuff more than I am. But I'm going to give you my street view. Here's my street view. And I wrote this in my op-ed yesterday. If that judge appointed by Obama wants those migrants, illegal aliens, back here on U.S. soil so this way they can get their fair due process, by all means, I will pay for your plane out of my own pocket. But you got to go there by yourself. You get no protection. You get no police, no military, no nothing. You're by yourself. You go in there, you get those guys, you take them home, and you put them in your court. And I guarantee you, you don't have the balls to do it. These are the worst human beings. This is ISIS without Islam. And this is what this judge and the left is arguing for. I'm beside myself. That's why we can't get onto other topics.
It's tough because I do like Trump, and I think he's a strong president, especially comparably to what we had in the last 4 years. But just to see almost a majority of his agenda not being acted out because you got these fake Republicans. And to your point, right? Like, we raised this question. Elon Musk and DOGE have been exposing all this fraud, all this wasteful spending, and one of the big corrupt agencies being USAID, and all the money they're spending on, condoms and DEI in international countries. Well, it's news to Musk and those on DOGE who are brought in, and it's all news to the taxpayer for the most part. But this is not news to Republicans. They've known this for years. So when you got Lindsey Graham, and I'll even throw Cruz in there because I like Cruz, but he's been in office for a while. They're all aware of all this wasteful spending, and there's plenty of videos showing Obama in the past talking about wasteful spending, talk about a 180 there. So why is it now that when a spotlight, it's actually put over what's going on in our government, that the Republicans are acting all surprised when they've been kind of complicit in a lot of it for a very long time?
These Republicans, Dennis,
and it doesn't help with the idea that there really is a giant uniparty going on.
100%. Dennis, you know what? I'll give you right now. Senator Cruz, Senator Kennedy, I'll even put Senator Marco Rubio, and I'll go with Senator Paul at a lesser degree. Those four are the four senators that you will see constantly on Fox News. Constantly. And I'm sorry, I almost forgot him. Senator Lindsey Graham. Constantly they're on. And I have come to a place where I have figured out that their only value to the GOP is that they are good TV. They're articulate. In Cruz's case, he can spurt out case law in 2 seconds flat. This is a guy who actually argued multiple times in front of the Supreme Court. Senator Kennedy, he's got all the little zingers that can make you laugh and all the crazy analogies. Marco Rubio, he's going to attract the Latino vote, right? He's going to attract the Latino voter. But don't forget, Fox had Fox Latina. Remember that? Fox Latino or whatever it was for a while there? Okay, that's why. Lindsey Graham, all the Fox people who are watching Fox and the government who love to get all their special money, they go to Lindsey Graham, especially the military folks, right? All of them love them. This is why you see these same people all the time. Not one of them has done anything. You can put them together as a conglomerate. They have not done anything remotely close to what Trump has done in a week. They are useless, these people. They should be voted out. We don't need them anymore. Let's get fresh blood into the mix. That's how we truly make America great again. That's why when I saw that Trump picked Rubio, I'm like, oh my God, there's got to be somebody better. But you know what somebody told him? I guarantee you this is what will end up happening. Somebody went to Trump in the inner circle and said, look, we need to have a good roundup of people. Little diversity here, little diversity there. Make sure that we get people who are going to be happy here. And by the way, Marco Rubio is friends with all of those senators, even the rhinos. They love him. And think about that, Dennis. Marco Rubio got 100% vote in his confirmation. Nobody else got 100%. Marco Rubio did. So beating up on the GOP, absolutely. As far as I'm concerned, the majority of them are even worse than these Democrats, because at least with the Democrats, I know what's coming at me, including Governor Walz from Minnesota, who is now on a podcast with Governor Newsom, as if these two guys have two great states where they're like, yeah, let me take some time off to do a podcast. These two are sucking up to each other. But then what pissed me off to no end is that if Ron DeSantis were to get up on television, let's say Ted Cruz, he's got a lot of time in his hands. He's got a podcast called Verdict. Let's imagine for a moment that Ted Cruz has Ron DeSantis on his podcast. And Ron DeSantis says, I can take down and beat up any person who voted for Kamala Harris. You would have the New York Times and everybody else saying he should be impeached for inciting violence. But when it comes to the other side, they're allowed to say what they want. Ryan is going to play a clip of basic Governor Walz, also known as the failed VP, who thinks now that he's suddenly got a chance to run for president. He's going to play a clip where he says that he can take you and kick your ass. Go.
This
How do you
notion of
fight it?
and well, this
I
notion
think
of
I could
tax.
kick most of their ass. I do that if they wanted to. I know I can outrun them, but I don't know if we're going to fall into that place where we want to. Okay, we challenge you to a WWE fight here type of thing.
Tampon Tim is going to take me down.
Yeah, I think anyone watching right now, maybe leave a comment if you really think that Tim Walz, Tampon Tim of all people, is going to beat you in a fight. I mean, come on. And also, Gavin Newsom launched this podcast like what, maybe 10 days ago, and he's had like 20 episodes so far. Is he doing anything in California? Is he trying to fix the fires, homelessness, anything? No, he's
Not
too
a
busy.
thing.
Too busy just chatting it up,
Too
getting
busy
ready.
being a star.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I hate getting like this, but I got to put it back there. I would bet everything I have that if you put me in a ring with Gavin Newsom and Walz 2-on-1, I'd have that fight done in 3 seconds flat.
Well, Gavin Newsom would back out because nothing can happen to that face, right? And then Tim Walz, I mean, something tells me when he throws a punch, it's like throwing a dead fish. So
Yeah, listen, it would. I think I might be able to get him with just my Tyson look.
yeah.
But even if I couldn't, it would be boom, boom. It'd be over in 2 seconds. It'd be, who's next? Who's coming in next? You know, these punks, they're punks. Everybody's tough when they're behind a keyboard, and everybody's tough when they're behind a microphone. Yeah. You see this guy, a little, like a tooth fairy, when he walks on stage with all his little things and his all, like his wave flaring. Yeah. Tampon Tim. Going to take down MAGA.
He couldn't even fight for his city during the BLM riots. He's going to fight, physically.
Yeah.
Come on.
Let me tell you. Wait, we're talking about Tampon Tim, who was too afraid to go serve. Remember, he bailed out. He said,
out.
hey, you've been around here for 20 years. Now we need you to go serve. Oh, no, I'm going to retire. Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, and just think of this, right? Because you just brought it up. In a world of Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin and freaking terrorists galore, we really think Tim Walz, whether it's him or Kamala Harris as president, are really going to be the hard-hitting, respectful figures to represent America. I mean, if there's one thing to really give credit to Trump is he can actually stand toe-to-toe with these people. I can't even imagine Tim Walz on a 2-hour phone call with Vladimir Putin trying to discuss how to end the war. He would laugh him off, like he did Hillary.
Let me tell you something I know about tough guys. You know what we know what they never do? They never say they're tough. Tough guys don't need to say that they're tough. All right?
True.
Yeah. So I'll tell you about tough guys. Here's an example. We have a video here. Here's an example of where it is and how it is that Donald J. Trump is trying to do more for your country to get rid of that fundamental transformation than anybody else. This video here, for those people who are only listening on the to the podcast and don't see it, there are federal ICE agents trying to arrest and grab members of gangs. Let's play it.
Hey, no, 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 no. Get out of the car. Get out of my car. Get out. No. No. I have video. I have video. Look. It's raining. It's raining. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, mira, mira, hey. Oh, my God.
You know, Denny, when I watch these videos like this, I mean, I say this is great. This is what we need.
Of course, but then you got MSNBC and CNN showing it and saying it's a violation of the illegal aliens' rights. It's like I see that, right? And you have talked about for a very long time how the visuals need to be shown to show that like we are not only acting, but that this is almost like a warning call not to mess around, right? I mean, yesterday we had this in the 47 report, and we had mentioned it prior. They just put out the revamped CBP One app. Now it's CBP Home app to try and incentivize self-deportation. So when you have a video like that, you may get your whiny little liberal saying like, oh, how dare they, how awful. No, it's a Venezuelan cartel member or an associated of. Show the fact that we're breaking in the window. You know how they don't break in the window? You open the door and you talk to the ICE agent and you accept the handcuffs and you go through the process. By resisting, you're just asking for trouble. I don't know why people haven't learned this yet.
Well, remember, because AOC and all the other ones are out there telling these illegal aliens how to resist ICE arrests. So don't.
But shame on her, because yeah,
course.
in that video you can kind of hear like you're not supposed. It's she's leading them up to fail. What she should be saying is respect the law enforcement because you're not supposed to be here regardless, and go about it that way on a due process.
You're asking
level.
a Democrat to be a rational human being. Now, with that being said, I wonder why the courts didn't get in the way of trying to stop Trump and Elon Musk from saving those astronauts.
There,
Yeah.
there's been jokes about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
with
we have Trump here commenting about the astronauts being saved by Elon Musk. Let's play that. This is from Fox News last night.
So when I came in office, I said, Elon, we got to get them out. You have a rocket ship handy? How many people have a rocket? And Biden left them up. He abandoned them. We could have done this sooner, but Biden didn't want to because he was embarrassed by what happened. So they were up there. They were supposed to be there for a few days. They were there for many months. And now they're coming back. But think of it. Elon's able to do that with his genius. And you have people that hate it. And I really believe these are people that hate our country. It's a big problem. But there aren't so many of them. There are many more that love our country. And they love our country now more than they have maybe ever in their lives. There's never been a movement like MAGA, like America First, call it whatever you want to call it. This is the greatest movement in the history of politics.
What's the next stop for the astronauts? Are they going to be coming to the White House?
No, they're going to, number one, have to get better. When you're up there and you have no pull in your muscle, you have no gravity, you can lift 1,000 pounds like this. They have to get better. It's going to be a little bit tough for them. It's not easy. They're up a long time. And when they do, they'll come to the Oval Office.
Yeah, there's been jokes that some random radical leftist judge is going to order the astronauts to return to the International Space Station because it makes Trump and his team look too good. But just to comment on that, I think, and Ryan's got some B-roll footage showing the capsule landed in the Gulf of America, right off the coast of Tallahassee. And I think it's notable in the fact that even though they got stranded up there, it's just a testament to how incredible America is that SpaceX and NASA can bring them back safely. But it's also shameful that they probably could have been brought back even sooner if Joe Biden didn't play political games the way he did and purposely delay their return. So, but I'm glad that they're home. And like Trump said, it's going to take a while for them to recover. 9 months of gravity really does something to the body. And it looks like they'll be at the White House once they recover.
Take a look at Elon Musk. Nobody could have gotten those people alive except for Elon Musk. I mean, like Trump said, who has a rocket? You call, hey, take one of your rockets. And he's another one. This guy has no reason to be doing what he's doing for the U.S. government. He's got more money than he and the next 10 generations of Musks could spend in lifetimes. Okay? The amount of money this man makes just on interest alone every single year, forget about that. The amount of interest he makes in a day, I won't make in a year. Okay? And why is he doing this? He's doing this because he absolutely loves America And he sees from a financial standpoint that if we don't go in and strip the fraud, we don't strip the waste, we're done. And it's the same thing. The attacks on him are incredible. New York Times, Musk's role in dismantling aid agency, USAID, likely violated the Constitution. Efforts made by Elon Musk and his team to permanently shutter the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, likely violated the Constitution in multiple ways and robbed Congress of its authority to oversee the dissolution of an agency it created based on what a federal judge found on Tuesday. The ruling, made by Judge Theodore D. Chung, who, by the way, they won't tell you in the New York Times, but I will, was appointed by Barack Obama for the District of Maryland, appeared to be the first time a judge has moved in to rein in Mr. Musk and his Doge. It was based on the findings that Mr. Musk has acted as a U.S. officer without having been properly appointed to that role by President Trump. They are trying to find little tiny needles. So what is this? So what do you want to do? You want to have Trump redo his appointment of Elon Musk and pay him $1 and put him on the bankroll? And then we got to do this all over again? What's the point? The point is to stop Trump, to hate on Trump, and to make life miserable for them. Here is Elon Musk. You tell me how in this video, you listen to Elon Musk. Explain to me how Elon Musk is benefiting from this whole thing that he's doing, other than saving the country that he loves. Go.
Yes, the government the government waste and fraud is so high that it's causing a $2 trillion annual deficit. So that's $2,000 billion of waste and fraud that's happening, and the cost of our debt has gotten so high that just the interest payments on the debt exceed the entire military budget, and it was just growing out of control. So the country was going bankrupt. It's just, country is no different from a person. If a country overspends and doesn't spend wisely, just like a person, a country will go bankrupt. So the reason I'm here is because I'm very worried about America going bankrupt due to the corruption and waste. And if we don't do something about it, the ship of America is going to sink. And we're all on that ship. And this may be a message to, people out there who have, are wealthy, have a lot of means, or control companies. It's like, just remember, we're all in ship America here. If your company is not going to exist if the ship of America sinks, and we should do everything we possibly can to ensure that America is strong for far into the future.
Now, as everybody knows or heard, I mean, at least you get it if you're getting the 47 report, 47report.com, put your email in there for our newsletter. Everybody at this point has heard how it is that Tesla dealerships are being ransacked
throughout the country. In fact, and I was just thinking about it this morning. I mean, I have friends, I know people who have Teslas, and they are politically neutral in the sense of they're not following Elon Musk's and DOGE's breakdown of wasteful spending. So imagine you own a Tesla, you're not really following any of this stuff. You kind of know Elon Musk is the guy of the company, and your car is vandalized or set on fire, or the windows are broken in, and you're like, what the heck? And the thing is, it's like it's impacting Musk and his company and the employees running these different shops that have the Teslas, but it's impacting the customers. Who wants to walk out and see their Cybertruck, lit on fire? It's vandalism, and it's. I think Pam Bondi is now going to approach it as domestic terrorism.
Yes,
but it's very frustrating, and it's so funny how liberals and leftists who were all about the Teslas years ago are now turning their backs on it. It's really ridiculous.
Let me read to you. This came out of the 47 report, and this is what we're talking about, how you get information that you just don't get from anywhere else. Attacks on Tesla vehicles and properties across the U.S. have been escalating, with incidents involving arson and vandalism. Attorney General Pam Bondi has labeled these actions as domestic terrorism. In response, several perpetrators have been charged, with some facing mandatory minimum sentences of 5 years, which is terrific because that's the way you have this stuff stop when people get in trouble. Now, yesterday, I had spoke about a video that I saw, and people were like, oh, I wish I could see it. Well, we got it for you. Here is a video of a young black man coming out of a doctor's office to find his Tesla completely destroyed. Play the video, Ryan.
I'm saying it's a white Tesla. No. This is what happened to my car, y'all. Look at this. Look at this. Y'all see this? Clown American. I don't know what this is. Is this paint?
When we had the Dylan Mulvaney situation,
Mhm.
him promoting Bud Light, I mean, conservatives just boycotted it. We just stopped buying it. You got some videos of people like shooting up Bud Light cans or maybe tossing it out. There's really a very big difference between a can of beer and a Tesla car. If you don't like Elon Musk, just don't buy a Tesla or do what these crazy Hollywoods are doing and hand it in. I'm sure someone else will get it. But if you're a crazy liberal and you think you're sticking it to Musk by lighting and vandalizing, one, you're really hurting the employees. I mean, you're hurting Musk, but in the tandem line, you're hurting employees, and then you're hurting maybe the customer or the American who saved up the money to buy the car. I'm not an EV guy, but I have friends who like them. So, what's really the point here? And if it's really to show a message, just for some clarity here, if you own a Volkswagen, Porsche, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, or even an Audi, they all had ties to the Nazi regime. Are you lighting those things on fire? No. All right. It's a car. So this idea that you're really sticking it to Musk is just so absurd. And I'm hoping Pam Bondi and the FBI are going to really act on these people doing what they're doing.
Well, look, sometimes we have to, as Americans, we're the first people to get all pissed off when we're sitting on line for McDonald's, we're sitting on line for Starbucks, and it's taken a little bit longer than we like to get our latte. We have become very spoiled when it comes to we want things now, we want them on a nanosecond. I think one of the things we have to look at is what Trump is trying to do is going to take time. But because of the resistance, and we have a whole section of 47 report called resistance. It's the resistance. We identify what these radical outlets, be it the media, be it fractions of the U.S. government, or be it the courts, what they're trying to do to Trump. So not only is this a long process normally, I go back to how I started this conversation today. Fundamental transformation. If I were to have gone from Dennis to Denise, to get back to Dennis is going to be a little bit tougher than maybe I thought it was because it was so broken, the process that I originally got involved in. Trump to dismantle what Joe Biden and Barack Obama and the courts and the liberals and the George Soroses of this world have done to this country is not an overnight fix. And he has every single last person, even in his own party, who seems to be up against him. I'll give you another thing that's happening. We had it on the 47 report today. The Fed is going to announce today at 2 o'clock whether or not they're going to lower interest rates. The expectation will be that they are not going to lower interest rates. This is why the American people continue to suffer. If you keep the interest rates high, people and companies cannot borrow. You are making it impossible. Impossible, I tell you. We have a line of credit. I have a line of credit for our business. I could be doing so much more with advertising and pushing out the 47 report and all the great things that we do. Even, just 10 seconds ago, while we were playing one of the things we were talking about here on Facebook, yesterday we were at 600 people, which is still 10% of what I used to get. And now today we're only 300 people. And Ryan said, we talked about transgenders. So, okay, what, are we back to censoring Mark Zuckerberg? So Ryan said, Dad, maybe we should just do like some boosting, some advertising, whatever. The problem is I'm not going to go borrow that money because it's 8.25% interest. It's 8.25% interest. You want to see our company and other companies start to thrive and hire and give raises again? You got to lower the interest rates. They've been too high for too long. People aren't being able to sell their homes. Homes are sitting because interest rates are too high for too long. But I guarantee you that this freaking scumbag Fed head will keep those interest rates where they are. The stock market's going to freaking go even lower today because they're not going to like it, because they understand that in order for businesses to thrive, they need to be able to borrow money at an affordable rate. And so everything that Trump is trying to do on paper is brilliant, whether it's coming to a 30-day ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia, as he did yesterday, where they're not going to blow up each other's electrical or nuclear plants. You know, he's trying, whether it's a ceasefire that he's trying to initiate over there between Hamas and from Israel, but Hamas will never listen. Whether it's trying to make it to where we could start to drill, deport illegal aliens, give businesses the advantages they need, no matter what he does, they're going to get in his way. But mark my word, if that entire document was written by a Democrat, every single thing of these things would go through. And we just played yesterday or the day before, I don't remember which day it was, Hillary Clinton talking about what needs to be done with the illegal aliens. And it sounds like Trump's plan. But today, she would tell you that it is racist and it's unconstitutional and it's anti-American. And you just sit there and say, man, Trump's biggest crime is that he's not a Democrat.
There's nothing more ironic or hysterically hypocritical than watching someone like a Biden or Obama or Hillary or a Schumer or a Pelosi, even a Bernie Sanders, talking about their radical positions today, and then finding that classic clip of 15 years back that shows completely the opposite, whether it is illegal immigration, whether it is wasteful government spending, even some of the transgender stuff. I'm betting you, I know that you could find that. So it's just crazy how warped they've become, and it's probably because of all George Soros putting money in their pockets through proxies or even direct. I'm sure most of these judges come from that background too, or even the people vandalizing these cars are probably being paid to do it, like the protesters who are being paid to protest Musk and Trump. It's absurd, but it just shows how deeply entrenched these radicals are, that they will abide by whatever Soros or whatever globalist tells them to say. 15 years ago you said protect the borders. That's not our message anymore. We want them all in. So it's all about just finding who really gives the orders to these people. But it just kind of goes to show that they don't have America's best interest in mind. They just have their own interests depending on what best suits them.
Well, the good news in all this, we come on here and on a day like today, we're talking about a lot of negativity because people are getting in the way of Trump and the MAGA movement. But I'm going to play a clip here. It only lasts for about 20 seconds, but it will make you feel great. This is a clip. It's an old clip of Donald J. Trump, into which he is talking about the process of quitting. Play it, Ryan.
I don't know if it's an ability or if you have it, just you can't quit. And I've seen people quitting. And if they would have held out longer, they would have been successful. I've seen it so much. I've seen some of the most brilliant people in the world that never made it because they were quitters. Never, ever quit.
Let me tell you a few things for certain. Number one, the Democrats are never going to quit in trying to ruin this country. And that's why we need people like Donald J. Trump and Dennis Michael Lynch to never quit in fighting back. So this way we don't lose our country. But Donald J. Trump and Dennis Michael Lynch and people like us don't stand a chance without people like you. Yesterday, we were on this platform and we had 600 people on here. Today, we can't hit 300. Are you telling me the 300 people that I had extra yesterday decided that they didn't stick around? They didn't want to stick around. They were with us the entire time. People saying, I haven't seen you on Facebook in years. And that's because that's part of the fight. That's part of Facebook and the left's fight. They're going to fight to censor you. They're going to fight to silence you. This is why I say to you, hit the share button. Trust me, folks. If I were to make money by you hitting the share button, I'd say, hey, I'll split it with you. I don't make any money from hitting the share button. I don't make any money from this. In fact, I'm like retired. I'm the only guy who doesn't get paid for doing his podcast. That's it. I don't get paid anymore. You know, my boys get a little tiny bit each day. We pay them a little tiny bit. In fact, Denny just said to me yesterday, Dad, I'm starting to struggle to pay my bills. Yeah, and I make nothing. We come here every single day to do this because we love the United States of America. So when I ask you to share, please share. And if you're somebody who gets the 47 report and the DML report, please do me a favor. When you see that we have some ads there, they're not these stupid, crazy ads that you see all over websites. They're legitimate ads for, hey, check out my newsletter. It costs you $0. Just click on it and take a look at it. You don't have to give your name. Just take a look at it. See if it's worth your while or whatever. It benefits that person. It benefits us. And it benefits you. And there's no obligations. So I'm telling you here, when you go there, if you see them, you would be doing everybody a favor if you were to just click on them. Okay? That's what I ask you. But 47report.com is where you want to put your email. You'll get all the information you need. You want to tell people about this show. You want to hit the share button. Please, please, please. And if you have some chance today, try to help Denny and Ryan. DMLCBD.com/mug, M-U-G. It's my Life After 50 mug that we use here. Denny uses it as well. It's a new podcast that I started at the beginning of the year. We did a season 1 where I did 10 interviews with people who are 50 and over. Really great stuff. And then, in addition to that, season 2, which will start at the latter part of April, is 10 episodes where I take you back in the course of time, things that I've done, different places I've gone in the country that I've never, ever revealed before because I didn't have a movie for it or I wasn't on television for it, but great stuff. So you can help support us. Go to dmlcbd.com/mug, M-U-G. It's really cheap to get one of these mugs. And if you put LIFE in as a coupon code, L-I-F-E, you will wind up saving 10% and free shipping. And then if you share this newsletter that we talk about, Denny's holding it up right now. If you get 2 people to sign on, what we do is we wind up giving you in the mail a 47 Report coaster that you can put underneath your mug. And that is something we send for free. We're trying everything we can to do to fight for America. We need you to help us. So until the next time, good job, Brian, with the clips. Good job, Denny, with putting the show together. And good job to you, the viewer and the listener, for not only participating with us today, but never quitting and helping us out. 47report.com with your email and with the shares. Thanks so much. Until the next time, may God bless you, our troops, these United States, our president, our vice president, and somebody from Team DML. Who is it going to be today, Denny?
Today's Team DML blessing goes out to Peter Hansen.
All right. Peter, pumpkin eater. I used to call my buddy that all the time. All right, Peter, enjoy your great day.
Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML.